Oh. You know it's not a good night when I get Chipotle. Because I'm just eating away the pain with my double chicken burrito. At least they had guac, though. At least they had guac. I've had a couple times where I am just in full tilt mode. It's incredibly tilted. Get to Chipotle, no guac. At least they had guac this time. Just kept getting burned by massive chalk, Luka Doncic and Steven Adams. Every slate I'm fading, I'm being the GPP bro. I'm playing some good contrarian plays, and it just doesn't matter because Luka goes for 100 every game, and Steven Adams 27 rebounds. All right, so I'm just like, all right, can't keep getting burned. I just can't. Can't keep happening. I gotta eat chalk, Luka and Steven tonight. I can't keep getting punished. So I did what the reasonable person would do. Plays chalk Steven Adams. And I take the under on Jaren Jackson Jr. rebounds. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. at high ownership on a small slate, guy's always in foul trouble. He's someone I want to play at low ownership, not at high ownership. What happens tonight? Random massive foul trouble for Adams. Jaren Jackson Jr. breaks the slate. And Luka Doncic, when I just kept fading him, he plays the entire second half. I'm tilting. Why is Luka playing the entire second half? I can't keep getting away with playing him the entire second half. Finally play. No chance he's playing in the fourth quarter. Massive blowout. Everything hurts right now. Everything hurts. And no, Jaren Jackson Jr. was not the worst play of the slate. I like to over-exaggerate a little bit when I'm tilted on Twitter, all right? Sue me. It's not the worst play. Tyus Jones or Santi Aldama was the worst play. But that's different. We don't need to talk about that on this video. At least the burrito bowl is good. That's about all I can say about the positives tonight. And did hit the YouTube play 2 for 2. So on Prize Picks, that I guess those were the two redeeming parts of this night. But yeah, I mean, I really hate myself for playing Steven Adams and seeing my boy Sengun absolutely smash. I was just like, I really hate myself. Why couldn't Steven Adams get in foul trouble yesterday? I took the under on Steven Adams. Like 200 rebounds, the prop was set, and he goes over it in like 20 minutes yesterday. And I fade him in DFS and just smashes. Why couldn't that happen yesterday when there was so much value? But today, there's no value. I'm stuck playing Eric Gordon and Reggie Bullock, who, let me just tell you this. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy to roster Reggie Bullock. All right, guys, let's talk about this 11-game slate. Happy Friday. Woo! If you guys are new, my name's DK. We'll cover the NBA DFS slate. The sponsor of today's video is Prize Picks. The NBA board is not up. Oh, it just added a couple plays. It is up. So if If you guys are not familiar with Prize Picks, it is a player prop site. You build 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6 player props, can win up to 25x your money. If you are a first-time user, you can use the code DKDFS for a 100% match up to $100. And more in-depth content that is linked down below, whether it be DFS or Prize Picks. All right, so let's talk about this 11-game slate. Enough of tonight. I'm ready to move on. And yeah. So Portland, Indiana is the first game here. Nurkic is probable. Gary Payton is questionable. Jeremy Grant is questionable. Now, I'm not exactly sure who would start if Jeremy Grant's out. Probably Watford, but I guess they could go small with like Keon Johnson or Shaden Sharp possibly. So we'll see. It's the early game, so we'll know. But as far as the rest of the Blazers go, Damian Lillard at 9-7. I think a pretty good tournament play. Not a priority at this price point, but always a guy that does bring that upside. If Jeremy Grant's out, it's going to make guys like Simons, Hart, Nurkic look a little bit better. The minutes on Nurkic have been a bit disappointing of late. He did fall out in 25 minutes, so we know Nurkic is a good point per minute guy, though. And then, yeah, Gary Payton, if he plays and there's no limit, would be playable at 3-3, but I assume he's still going to be on some sort of a limit. And then if Jeremy Grant's out, then, whoever starts would probably be my favorite option, whether it be Sharp or Watford, maybe Keon Johnson. Let's move on to Indiana. On the Indiana side, Halliburton and Turner, like the ceiling on them. Portland, not necessarily the best defensive team. So I think they're both pretty decent plays in both formats. Miles Turner had like 7 blocks last game, 5 blocks. That he can do that. He started really slow, which tilted makes it took his over fantasy score and Prize Picks yesterday. But as far as the rest of Indiana goes, Buddy Hield is a guy that does have a ceiling in the mid-range. He's a guy that's relatively scoring dependent. Last game, kind of an outlier, 6 assists, 9 boards. Normally, he's, getting most of his fantasy points from scoring. And the value, I think, is all fine. Mathurin, Aaron Naismith, Nembhard, even Jalen Smith. Right now, Jalen Smith playing the backup 5. Isaiah Jackson was in the G League last game. So this group for value is like, yeah, they're playable. Mathurin, Naismith, Nembhard, Jalen Smith, all fine options. Chicago and Philadelphia. Alex Caruso, questionable. If he misses, would solidify the minutes here for Ayo Dosunmu, who's already been playing 30-plus minutes. I think Ayo, probably my favorite play in the Bulls. If he's going to continue to play low to mid-30s minutes at only 4-2, I like him. The big three, DeRozan, Vooch, and LaVine, you know what I'm going to say here, right? All in play for tournaments. On a big slate, though, hard to prioritize one of those guys. Patrick Williams is 4K. We should see around 30 minutes from him. Another fair value play like Ayo. And if there's no Caruso, then maybe we can consider guys like Kobe White or Goran Dragic at 3-3-3-1. They would probably see a slight minutes bump on the Philadelphia side. So Joel Embiid already ruled out. We'll see, against a bigger Chicago team, will Philadelphia start the small ball lineup with Tucker, or maybe they do start Montrezl Harrell? But yeah, James Harden 10-1, going to be a great play in both formats. Was really bad last game, which tilted me. But yeah, he gets a pretty big usage bump without Embiid. And yeah, I think he's still too cheap here at 10.1K. Maxey minutes were somewhat back to normal. I know last game went to overtime, so 32 minutes in regulation. If we get confirmation he's no longer in a limit, then I would have, I think he would be playable. Tobias Harris kind of indifferent at him in the mid-range. Melton, he's fine. Montrezl Harrell intrigues me with 4 or 5. Last game, Paul Reed was just not in the rotation. He saw 28 minutes from Montrezl. So if they're just going to run Montrezl a lot at the 5 and not play Paul Reed, then a 4.5K I do have some interest in him. He could possibly start 2. PJ Tucker's 3-2. I just don't think you could pay me to play PJ Tucker. I really don't. So let's move on to New York and Toronto. New York, I faded chalk Jalen Brunson last slate. That obviously didn't go well. Career game, 17 of 27. But here's the thing, right? They're just going to play massive minutes. Brunson and Randall both should play around 40 minutes. It's not necessarily the best matchup, but they're both in play for the minutes. Quickly, also, 46 minutes is absolutely out of this world. 46 of the 48 minutes for Emmanuel Quickly. Now, with Quickly, his usage is not going to be as high playing alongside Brunson and Randall. But if he's going to play every minute of the game, then yes, he's playable. Grimes, he's going to see a ton of run. He's fine. Mitchell Robinson, if he can stay out of foul trouble, does have a ceiling. You know what I'm going to say, though. This guy is so up and down. He's always in foul trouble. It's a frustrating roster. It's really a frustrating roster. McBride will see rotation minutes. Not enough for me to get to him. They only played 10 minutes last game. So let's move on to Toronto. On the Toronto side, it's another team where I play Van Fleet, it's a Siakam game. I play Siakam, it's a Van Fleet game. I play one of these wings, it's someone else. It's just like, this team's starting to piss me off, all right? They're playing big minutes, but I just can't get these guys right now. Siakam, he's going to play around 40 minutes, 10.2. Feels priced about right. Obviously, Van Fleet had a massive game. But look at the last 5 games from 44, 39, 18, 21, 65. Who knows? Scotty Barnes, OG, again, they're up and down too. The positive is these guys are going to play massive minutes. So, like, I think all 5 starters are going to play, and Gary Trent Jr., my arch nemesis, has been playing very well too. Also played 45 minutes or 40 minutes in regulation. So, basically, I have interest in all 5 starters, but I just know if I play one of these guys, they're going to have a floor game. It's going to be the other starters that do well. And with all the starters playing just massive minutes, I can't get to anyone on the bench. Brooklyn, New Orleans, KD, Kyrie, both in play. Once again, I think I slightly prefer Kyrie to KD for the discount. Kyrie's 8.7, KD's 10K. Both have a similar floor plus ceiling, but yeah, I'll give the edge there to Kyrie. Ben Simmons, minutes kind of been all over the place. So Nick Claxton been playing consistently low 30s minutes. I think he's a pretty safe play. Ben Simmons, if you told me he was going to play like 35 minutes, I would definitely play him. But his minutes are just, they're not great right now, so that does worry me a bit. I think Royce O'Neal's relatively safe, 4-3, should play a ton. Shot 0 of 9 last game, so that's probably not going to happen again. T.J. Warren, questionable. If he misses, you probably just get more run for Royce and Seth Curry, who's been playing well since being re-entered in the rotation. The downside of Seth Curry, though, is he's pretty score independent, so he can still hurt you. But 3.5K, if you give me a 25 to 30 minutes from Seth Curry, I'm totally fine taking that shot. New Orleans, so no Zion, no Ingram. We don't know the status of Nance and Hernan Gomez. I like CJ McCollum in both formats. Obviously, gets a pretty big bump of those 2 guys off the court. Will be the clear go-to guy. He looks good. I like JV as well. Played 30-plus minutes last game, 32 minutes. Now, keep an eye on Nance. If Nance plays, then JV's minutes a little bit more in question. But like if Nance and Hernan Gomez are both out, you should get 30-plus minutes from JV. And the wings, I think it's going to come down to ownership. So last game, Najee and Trey Murphy got a majority of the ownership. You saw 29 fantasy points in 33 minutes for Najee. You saw Trey Murphy have a subpar game, 18 fantasy points in 29 minutes. And then Herbert Jones went for 21 fantasy points in 31 minutes. So like, if everyone plays Najee Marshall, I'll just play Trey Murphy or Herb Jones, right? So it's like, I think all these wings look pretty similar, and I'll probably, if I'm going to play one, it probably will be whoever's the lowest owned. And then if Nance and Hernan Gomez are both out, I would assume you get backup 5 run for Jackson Hayes, which would look good. If, Nance is in, sure, you can play him. If Nance is out and Hernan Gomez is in, he's playable in tournaments. And then Alvarado should see decent run off the bench, played 21 minutes last game. I think he's a viable GPP value play. Washington and OKC, I actually do like this Washington team a good amount. No Beal, good matchup, and they're going to run a tight rotation. So Porzingis and Kuzma, like the ceiling on them. They get a usage bump with Beal off the court. Porzingis, a little bit of a higher ceiling, but Kyle Kuzma at a reasonable price at 8.4. I think both these guys look decent at the top. And then I like the value plays here. Monte Morris should see around 30 minutes. I think he's a decent play. Gafford, Ben starting, Ben playing, pretty good minutes. I think he's a pretty good value play here, as long as he stays out of foul trouble. Been doing a better job of that, but I just know if I buy into Gafford, he'll get massive foul trouble. Denny Advia should get more run as well. I'm expecting 25 to 30 minutes. I think he's a good play at 4.6. Corey Kispert, I would guess, continues to start for Brad Beal. He'll play a lot, but he's a low usage guy. Still playable though. And so that's it for Washington. I like basically all the main guys here. Like all the rotation guys, I think are pretty good plays. On the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 9.8K, always a guy you can get to at the top. Does have a ceiling, but a little bit quiet of late. Last year games, 42, 28, 46 fantasy points. Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams, they're playable in the mid-range. Lou Dort playable. I'm not sure who they're going to start at the 5. They can go small and start Kenneth Williams at the 5. They could start, I guess, like Muscala or Baisley, who's kind of been out of their rotation. Like, they don't have a lot of bigs here. So, like, if they start Kendrick Williams at 3.7, I would assume he probably plays mid-20s minutes. I would like him for value if he starts. But yeah, Muscala will probably mix in, maybe some Baisley. I don't know if Amorier is with the team or not. We'll see tomorrow. But I would say mainly the main guys, and then keep an eye on who starts at the 5 there. Charlotte, Milwaukee, not a ton I love here for Charlotte. Definitely some blowout risk. Really bad team going up against one of the best teams in the NBA. Oubre out. I believe Gordon Hayward is still out. You should get McDaniel to continue to start. I think he's like a decent play at 4.8K. LaMelo is fine in tournaments at 9.9. If they're going to stay competitive in this game, it's probably LaMelo. Rozier's just there. The front court guys still priced about right. If you think the game blows out, I think Mark Williams is a bit intriguing. Good point per minute guy, 3.9K. Been playing the backup 5 over Nick Richards. So he's a little bit interesting to me, that being Mark Williams. On the Milwaukee side, Giannis back, Giannis is available, Drew Holiday should be back. I don't have interest in Drew Holiday unless he starts and is no longer at a limit. Giannis, though, if you think the game stays competitive, he has a massive ceiling. 84, 81, 81, and 72 fantasy points over the last 4 games. The bigs both feel priced about right. Value, just, and they're just there. Allen, Carter, Connaughton with Drew Holiday back. Yeah, probably can't really prioritize any of those guys. Detroit, San Antonio. So unfortunately, this game looks pretty appealing to target because you got two bad teams going up against each other. You got the Pistons, who ran a pretty tight rotation last game. Yeah, this game is appealing, and I hate myself for saying that. But Bojan Bogdanovic at 6'3", I mean, should play over 30 minutes if the game stays close. He's the guy that probably has the highest ceiling on this team, gone from 40-plus now in 2 of the last 3 games. Like his upside. I think Killian Hayes is a good play in both formats. Did not have the best shooting game. Played 35 minutes, went for 33 fantasy points. You also did not see Corey Joseph in the rotation. That was good to see. Jaden Ivey still only played 27 minutes, but he's been relatively productive on the court. Alec Burks been playing a bit more off the bench, 5K, like his ceiling. Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, they'll split the center minutes. Stewart will start alongside Duren, and then they'll kind of stagger their minutes. Jalen Duren played 32 minutes last game. He's only 4.9K. I like the price point. I like the price point on Isaiah Stewart, too. So, you can tell, right? I'm liking a lot of these Pistons. Sadiq Bey, even at 4-3. Really hate him for hitting that fadeaway 3 to win the game. I needed overtime in the worst way, but 4-3 is playable. Diallo saw rotation minutes. He saw a couple rotation minutes for Magruder. No minutes there for Corey Joseph. So, scary, but I think the Pistons look good. And the Spurs side, no Devin Vassell. We don't know the status of Jay Rich and Keita Bates-Diop. I mean, sub 7K Keldon Johnson against the Pistons that should play mid-30s minutes. Kind of like that. Jakob Poeltl feels a little bit too cheap. I would expect 25 to 30 minutes from him. I think Trey Jones is pretty safe at 5'7", should see low 30s minutes. A guy that has a pretty high floor because he can stuff a stat sheet. Don't even mind Zach Collins, who's going to play the backup 5. He'll play whenever Poeltl's not out there. Sohan was really bad last game. Again, he only does well when he's massive chalk and a really, really bad play. But, yeah, he's playable. And then if Jay Rich and McDermott are both out, I mean, you probably get Langford starting. Got in some foul trouble last game, but he could be viable there at only 3.1. Cleveland, Denver. So Donovan Mitchell is resting. Darius Garland, questionable. If Darius Garland is out, I mean, I think we got to go to Karis LeVert. He'd probably be the best play at the slate at sub 6K. So he'd look really, really good. If Garland plays and there's no limit on him, which I don't think there would be since there's a thumb, do like his ceiling. He has disappointed, though, recently when Mitchell's been out. He's been not great, but he does get a bump there. The front court guys are kind of just fine with Allen and Mobley. And then I do like Chetty Osman either way, like if Garland plays or not. I would expect probably 25 to 30 minutes off the bench for him. So 3.9K, do like him. Someone asked me about Isaac Okoro the other day, if I would play him. I have a bag of garbage next to me on the right-hand side. I would rather eat that bag of garbage than play Isaac Okoro. All right, Denver. So Denver playing tonight, unless something happens to any of these guys. I assume everyone's going to play. I mean, it's a back-to-back, so maybe you get like Murray resting. We'll see. Jokic, you can play him any single matchup. Cleveland, tougher defensively, but if you have enough value you're comfortable with, totally fine with Jokic. Murray, Gordon, MPJ, all fine tournament plays. There's nothing that stands out for me on Denver going up against a tough matchup against Cleveland, but some guys you can look to in GPPs. Clippers and Timberwolves. So since it's a back-to-back, I would guess that Kawhi Leonard rest. You might, like, Paul George could sit here too. I guess someone said in the Discord right before I made this video that the broadcast said that Paul George is on some sort of a limit tonight, which, like, it would have been nice to know. But, yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. If Paul George plays, and obviously Kawhi Leonard sits, then I think Paul George at 8.9K would be a good play, assuming no limitations. If they both sit, then we got to start looking pretty heavily into these value plays. And John Wall also was a late scratch tonight too, so he'll be available. Like, if there's no Kawhi and no Paul George, then it's a situation where we're looking at guys like Reggie and Wall and Powell and Morris and Mann and Kennard all look really, really good for value. So there could be a lot of value for the Clippers if both those guys rest. On the Minnesota side, still no Cat. Anthony Edwards, D'Lo, like the ceiling on them. They're going to play a ton of minutes. They're both in play. Rudy Gobert has just been absolutely awful, but he did play 35 minutes last game, so that was good to see. I guess he finally had a decent game when I finally faded. But yeah, if Naz Reid is out, Gobert's going to look a little bit better. Slow-mo, McDaniels are just there. Jalen Noel's 4-5. Obviously, he's 25 minutes on the bench. He's fine in GPPs. Final couple games here, Miami, Phoenix. This one will be a quick game. On the Miami side, there's really just nothing that stands out. Basically, a fully healthy team. Guys priced up. Not necessarily the best matchup. It's just like, if you want to take a shot in Bam or Jimmy or Hero, fine. I think my favorite play probably, I guess, would be Oladipo. 35, 30, and 32 minutes over the last 3 games. I think he's, I guess, my favorite play in Miami. On the Phoenix side, I have no idea what to do with this team. No idea. I don't know what to make of it. They're getting blown out. They're winning games they shouldn't. I don't know. I have no idea what to do with Phoenix. You see, this is why you subscribe. You get this type of in-depth content, right? Right? You tell me what to do with Phoenix. You want to play Paul at 7? Chris Paul is either like killing you or he's just smashing. DeAndre Ayton, there's games where he looks like he shouldn't be at an NBA court, and there's games where he's dominating. Bridges, I mean, this guy shoots like 5% from the field when I play him. If I fade, he goes for like 5 steals and smashes. Landry Shamet is 4-5. Like, it's disgusting, but he played 36 minutes last game. Torrey Craig is still seeing rotation minutes. You want to take a shot in Damian Lee? Fine. Dario Saric started last game, but he's not going to... Like, I don't know what to do, all right? I don't know what to do here. Atlanta Lakers final game. This game is appealing. So I mentioned in my YouTube stream yesterday how I really like the Hawks front court in tournaments. Collins absolutely smashed, and Okongwu got in foul trouble, which is that's just typical, right? Probably one of these guys, one of the front court guys is getting in foul trouble and bust, and the other one's going to smash. So hopefully you get on the right guy. But Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, I like the ceiling of both of them. I think they're both good GPP plays. Capela's once again out. Okongwu, Collins, like them both. Again, Collins back-to-back really big games, but you have seen some big games from Okongwu as well, right? He's had a couple 40 bombs in here too, so I like the Hawks front court, right? One of those guys can really hurt you. One of them's probably going to have a really good game. And even some of these secondary guys I think are playable. Bogdanovich should see over 30 minutes. He's sub 6K. And DeAndre Hunter played a lot last game. 38, 36 minutes over the last 2. I think he's even playable. Finally, the Lakers. LeBron is expected back. Lonnie Walker is, I believe, out again. Yeah, out again. And then Troy Brown Jr. questionable. Westbrook is probable. So, like the ceiling on LeBron at 10-7. Again, this is a game that should be played at a fast pace, so he's playable. Westbrook's fine in GPPs. I think Thomas Bryant's a decent play in both formats going up against a bigger front court. He should see over 30 minutes. The rest is like, yeah, you can play Schroeder, you can play Reeves, you can play Pat Bev. If Troy Brown's out, I feel a little bit better about those guys' minutes, but that is really it. So that's going to wrap up the video today. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Again, if you're new, enjoy, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll see you all in the next video.